Hola Comadres, welcome to another episode of Comadreando podcast. I'm your host Marcy, and today we have some amazing guests, Amanda and Tom Dyer. I will let them introduce themselves. Who are you?
Hi there, I'm Amanda Dyer, the co-director and producer of the documentary Unseen, How We're Failing Parent Caregivers and Why It Matters.
I'm Tom. I'm the co-director and cinematographer for the film.
Amazing. Okay, so today's topic is supporting special needs parents to avoid caregiver burnout and why it matters. So the reason why the topic came up is that the focus for the show this month is mental health awareness for caregivers of children with special needs, and we're just trying to give resources to parents and kind of highlight it because a lot of people don't discuss it. A lot of people just kind of, especially the parents that I've had on the show, just keep going and don't really think of themselves because they're so immersed in providing care for their, loved one. So we want to address the issues that have been overlooked for such a long time. And since since your movie's coming out, we want to, have you guys on and kind of give your perspective and what you've seen or what you've heard from the people that you interviewed. So before we get into the topic itself, what is your career?
I have a marketing company where we make websites. It's my day job. So kind of the making the documentary film, it's not entirely dissimilar, being in the creative field, but it's a little bit of branching out just a little bit from my day job for sure.
And yeah, this actually is my day job. I'm a film director and cinematographer by trade. So yeah, it's what I usually do anyway.
All the time.
Amazing. Great. So I know that you guys picked this topic. How did walk me through the creative process and like the decision making process of why you decided on this topic for the documentary that you filmed?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We set out originally to just do a project together, just as something that we wanted to do for fun. We do a lot of client work in our day-to-day jobs. And we just wanted to do something that was completely ours that, that we wanted to do a passion project basically. And we had no connection to this community or this, topic or this world at all. And we just stumbled upon it. Amanda literally saw a Facebook post that was made by an acquaintance of an acquaintance one day. And it was about something about, that's why I've always said there needs to be a documentary about what it's like to be a caregiver. And so obviously that stuck out because we had already been talking about looking for something, for a story to tell. And it turns out that person was Jess, who you see in the film. And Jess lived, happened to live 25 minutes from us. And so it was just fate, I guess, that we saw all of this. And so we met up with Jess and we just had a lot of questions. And once we heard Jess and Ryan answer some of those questions and kind of give us some insight into what their lives are like, we were just kind of floored about this, a lot of these issues that we just didn't know about. And so that's how it started. It started as a research project. We just had a lot of questions for her and for Ryan and for the community. And we're very lucky to have a lot of people that were willing to participate and just kind of let us into their world.
Yeah, you had Melanie Oates on the documentary as well, and she's like one of the parents that I follow, and I feel like she's like so transparent with her journey, and it's so easy for people to judge, her decision to put her child in a home. 1 second. So it's so easy to judge her decision to put her child in a home because a lot of parents are, want to guilt trip you about the decisions you make about your child. But at the end of the day, you have to really take into account the fact that there's other people that can probably provide better care for your child at that moment. And it's a very hard decision to make. It's not like you're just pushing your child off to go, to stay in a home because you don't want to deal with them. It's, for a parent to come to that kind of decision, it's very tough. And I love how like the film itself was beautifully shot, and the way that you guys presented everyone's stories and, gave them validity and a platform and just really gave their human side of who they are as people.
Thank you.
So yeah. And what was I gonna say? Sorry, I'm getting distracted by my dog. Just give me 1 second. Let me put him in the crate. Besides that, like, what were some of the stories that touched you the most?
I mean, we were lucky enough to, like I said, to have all these people that were willing to just be so transparent and so honest and open about their lives. I mean, so many of these families, they, caregiving happens at home. It happens behind closed doors where people don't see it. And so the fact that they were brave enough and willing enough to share some of these stories with us, I mean, that we got so many that were great, and so many that are, the surprising thing was that so many of them were so similar, that so many of these families are struggling in similar ways, even though their stories are unique and their experiences are unique, they have some of the same struggles.
Yeah, I mean, the Ronnie family that we follow kind of as the main thread throughout the film, their story was just so powerful to us, and that's, why we structured it that way, because, they were willing to let us in behind the scenes and kind of give us access to their home and their family and really be honest about a lot of things that are hard to share. But they, their story is so interesting. They are a blended family. Jess and Ryan both had a spouse that their first spouse died from brain tumors. So they were caregivers in that capacity first, and then they got married, blended their families. Lucas's challenges got more and more demanding as he got older. They did, when they first got married, they didn't quite know what to expect or what life was going to be like. And then not to mention now they have 8 kids together. So their life is super interesting. It's different from a lot of our stories, but their story represents so many different challenges that other caregiving families have as well, that we just thought it was a perfect story to kind of bring this to light and set up a lot of the conversations about all the topics the film addresses, like mental health, physical health, financial stress, long-term care, all these things that go into it. Their story was such a powerful way to touch on all those different things.
Yeah, I definitely encourage the listeners to catch the movie. Thank you so much for giving us 5 free tickets. And I know that the listeners were so excited to be able to catch it, but it's literally only $10, and you can screen it up till November 30th. I don't know if you guys are going to have another event to do another screening later on, but I'd love to promote it on my channel and make sure that you guys are, getting as much, you're reaching as many people as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we appreciate that. And that's what we're hoping, is that, one, caregivers have found it and really gravitated toward it, because, if it's a way to be seen, and we hope that caregivers feel validated and appreciated for the work that they do. But then also we hope that they'll share it with their friends, family, teachers, doctors, people in their community who may just not understand what it means to be a caregiver and how, all consuming that can be in a lot of cases. So just that way we can spread it around and start with just more awareness for caregivers.
Yeah. It's so important. I'm a special education teacher. I don't know if you guys read that in the thing, but so for me as a mom of a child with special needs, I understand where my parents are coming from all over, but there's teachers that are not parents, one, and then they also don't have people with special needs in their family. So it's very hard for them to relate. Yeah. And they come from a position of privilege, and it's not their fault. It's just hard to empathize or see other people's lives in that way without actually seeing it or experiencing it firsthand. Mm-hmm. So I feel like this movie I feel like it should be part of, when you first start teaching, especially here in New York City, we have a district that's called District 75, and it's for children with special needs, with more profound needs than other students. So the kids in that district, I feel like part of the orientation should be people watching this movie, honestly, because a lot of and it's not, I feel like as humans, we just judge people in general. So like parents will be, not parents, but some teachers will be like, oh, such and such's mom didn't come. Oh, figures, blah, blah, blah. Right. Yet they don't see all the daily struggles that this parent is going through and the things that they're doing on their daily lives that like really take a toll. Like mental health is like a big thing. I want to put in the statistics of the amount of parents. I feel like you guys do too in the film, right? The amount of parents that deal with mental health issues that are caregivers for children with special needs or like not even just children, but people that have special needs in general is like high. It's I feel like it's double than parents of neurotypical children. So I feel like you guys are doing such an amazing job of highlighting that and really putting up a mirror and showing other parents what those parents' lives are like. Because it's so easy to judge and kind of like, point a finger and be like, oh my God, you're not, oh my God, you didn't come to a parent teacher conference, or, oh, you're not participating in the bake sale, but they don't see everything else that's going on in the background that the parent can't actually do that,
Yeah, we're actually working with quite a few hospitals, school districts, other therapy groups, clinics, things like that, who are doing screenings with their staff for exactly that reason that you said. And I was kind of surprised. I thought, well, they work with families all the time. They'll get it. It's like they'll understand it. But yeah, you're so right. Even many have admitted, when we have conversations like, yes, we work with families, but we don't only see this tiny snippet of their lives. And we don't know everything else that's going on. So that's been encouraging to see people using the film in that capacity to have that training and really, I think it just builds more compassion, helps reduce that judgment, like you said, because when you understand more about someone's story, you're going to be a lot less judgmental. And so we just want to start there.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Did you want to add anything, Tom?
No, I think that's, it goes back to what I said, like so much of what these families deal with happens at home, right? It happens behind closed doors. And so I think our hope for this is to, with these families' permission, put that on display so that people who do not understand can have a better, more intimate understanding of what some of the challenges are and ways that we can be kinder and support these families more.
And not just professionals, but family and friends too. Like, you may not understand why
personally
your friend turns down the invitation or they do things differently than you do, or, so just kind of understanding what happens in life that you may not see from your vantage point. Like you said, builds more kindness, understanding, compassion. Cause I think that goes, and that's what we hear from so many caregivers too, is like, I don't necessarily need someone to, do all, it doesn't have to be grand gestures or these big things. Like we just need more understanding, more recognition that things are hard and small things like being a friend, being supportive, that can go a really long way.
Yeah. I've dealt with a lot of mental health issues myself since having the diagnosis. My son's 14 already. And I do have a big support network, but there's still moments that I'll turn down an invitation or something and people are like, oh my God, you're being such a party pooper. Like, why? Or whatever. Or they don't understand that I can't just leave my child by himself. He's 14. When I was 10 years old, I was walking around with keys to my house, right? I was a latchkey kid. I'm 39. I was a latchkey kid. I was like picking up my kid from school and like my brother from school and like coming home by myself until my mom got back from college class, right? I can't do that with my child. A lot of people, even like in the dating situation, I'm a single mom. So like I'm currently dating and like having somebody that understands that like extra piece. A lot of people don't understand. They're like, oh, so your kid's by themselves? No, absolutely not. Like he cannot stay by himself just yet. You know what I'm saying? So it's like highlighting that and showing this to everyone. Because the thing is like, there's so many complexities in it. Even like when I had a sitter, if it wasn't this particular woman that was taking care of him, I wouldn't leave him with anybody. Like it was either I can come with my kid or I can't come at all.
Right.
Because I couldn't get this person to take care of my child. So, it's just, I love the fact that you guys are doing this project and it's just like really touching. And seeing the movie, I cried, of course, and I was feeling so seen and so held by the movie. It's really doing a service to the caregiving community. And I'm getting teary-eyed, sorry. So what do you hope to moving right along. So what is like your ultimate goal with the film? I know it's bringing awareness, but like, where do you guys see yourselves like a year from now after it's out and people are seeing it?
Yeah, that's hard because we honestly didn't even see it getting to where it's gotten at this point.
No idea.
Yeah, I mean, we were thinking like, hey, we kind of stumbled onto this issue. Let's start putting this together, just learning as we go and putting it together, and have been really surprised and grateful for the outpouring of support that we've gotten from all, like you said, caregivers themselves, but also professionals and organizations who are now seeing that the supporting caregivers is a huge issue and affects our communities in so many different ways. So we're kind of figuring it out as we go, just to be honest. This right now, our strategy, and we are working with some consultants that have advised us on how to like make an impact with a project like this. So we're focusing on these private screenings, like we said, where groups can watch the film and then have discussions as well. Because I think what we don't want to happen is that someone watches it and it, you don't really do anything with it. You just kind of move on.
Yeah.
Or you forget that's what we didn't want. So by organizing around these screenings, whether that's virtual or in person, groups can have discussions about, all right, what do we do with it? What am I changing based on having watched this? What, if it's a workplace, what policies can we change to be more supportive of our parent caregivers? If it's a church, do we have any programs that welcome families with disability? There's no matter where you are, whether you're just an individual who might have someone in your neighborhood that's a caregiving family, or you're the CEO of a company, or you're a politician or whatever, we hope that people who are watching it can think about where they have influence and work there. Like start there, start small. What can you impact? So that's really our vision, is that it's changing minds and kind of one person at a time. And that's how we're going to get to these bigger changes where, in years from now, hopefully there's no need for a documentary like this, because this isn't so many family stories anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, from the
one thing.
Yeah, from the very beginning, our whole goal was awareness, and that was as simple as like getting this and these experiences in front of people like ourselves who knew nothing about this life that these families go through. Like we knew nothing about that, and so our goal was to put that in front of people to generate more understanding, more awareness of this, and that's why the film is so honest and raw. We didn't want to necessarily put a bow on it. We didn't necessarily want to like put a very specific call to action or something at the end. We just wanted people to get a glimpse into the lives of these families and these caregivers, and just kind of experience firsthand some of the things they go through.
Because if you don't know about it, you can't care about it. How are you going to change anything if you're not even aware that there's families who might be struggling? So we have to start there with just being truthful about the situation. And that's why we're so grateful to the families that were willing to open up and share and let people into their story, so that all caregivers can benefit, even if they don't have the ability to do that where they are in their situation right away.
And then even people, I feel like I talk, the way I deal with things is like I talk about it with everybody, right? So I like really, I'm very vocal and like share a lot. But even though I am a vocal person and have made it my business to bring awareness, I feel like now, because of this show, people are more aware of my struggles as a caregiver and other people's struggles as well. I've had friends that come up to me and they're like, wow, like, I didn't know. And I'm like, it's not your fault. You know what I'm saying? Like, they felt guilty because they didn't know. And I'm just like, it's really not your fault. Because the thing is, like, we get so consumed as caregivers in dealing with our situation and, putting a our right foot forward and looking like we have it all together, but and not like showing like the vulnerability or the breakdowns or like, you know, the hard nights and stuff like that. I was thinking what you guys were saying about showing it in corporate situations, but I feel like I want to kind of make it an initiative in the Department of Education to show it to administrators, so that the parent, not the parents, the like not only to have compassion with the parents, but have compassion with the teachers that are caregivers that are in front of your students every day and are still like doing the things that they need to do and not being a crappy teacher. Or like, let's say they do call out because they have an IEP meeting or an appointment with their child. It's not because they want to shirk their responsibilities as a teacher. It's because they have other things that they need to take care of it. And then another thing I wanted to highlight is that through the show and everything, like the percentage of single mothers or single dads that are caregivers is insane. And then and I feel like I want to do research about this. It's like a lot of the parents that I have interviewed, either male or female, are single parents. Like the other parent is like completely uninvolved with their child's life. So when I do find parents that are still together and they're doing it, they're working on it together, is like, I like really like to highlight that, you know, because it's for me, it has been rare, at least with the population that I've been working with in the show for the time that I've been doing it, which has been a year. So I wanted to ask you guys, I know money is a thing. If people want to support with funding for the movie, how can they do that? I want to put my little grain of sand to get you guys out there, hopefully picked up by Netflix or something.
Yeah, we're still, if anyone knows any Netflix contacts, just give us a ring. No trouble. Yeah, well, I mean, right now, the best thing is really just get a ticket to watch the screening that we have going on now. It's at caregiverdoc.com is our website. This screening is caregiverdoc.com/November for National Family Caregivers Month. Yeah, and like you said, it's $10 for the ticket. There is an option to add additional gift if you would like to. It's not necessary or required at all. It's just if you feel led to do that. Because right now, all the money we raise from the screenings and things goes to the outreach and impact campaign for the film. So managing these screenings, getting it out to communities, making sure people know about it. It's all about the outreach effort so that we can get it in more settings, have more conversations, reaching more people with it. So that's our goal right now, is focusing on how do we, we have PR efforts going on, all these things kind of behind the scenes to try to just reach more people with it. So really just watching and sharing is really the best thing that anyone can do. If you want more people to see it, telling them about it, inviting them to watch, that goes such a long way.
Yeah, we get asked quite a lot, or asked, why is it not on Netflix? Why is it not on this streaming platform? Stuff like that. And the answer to that is, first, it's just it's not that simple. But we do have a very intentional way that we are rolling this out. We didn't want to make this and then just put it out and say, okay, anyone go watch it, because at that point it's not just generating get ignored, impact. It's going to get ignored.
How many videos are on YouTube right now?
Yeah, and so our goal with it is to be intentional and put it in front of people that need to see it. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to be intentional about how we roll it out and make it something where people are compelled to watch it and compelled to do something after they watch it. So that's the goal. And we're going to keep doing that for the time being. I'm sure things will change and shape as that happens. But any opportunity to get it in front of organizations or people that need to see it is what we're trying to do. Yeah.
Or if you work if you're part of a nonprofit or a podcast or your business, anything like that, hosting, if you reach out to us, we have options for hosting screenings with your group, where your team can watch it on demand, or you can do a virtual screening or an in-person. So a lot of cool ways to get it out into communities. If people want to check our website, that's the best place to start to kind of find all the ways you can get involved. And we have a whole selection of, we call it our caregiver toolbox. So it's organizations that we've partnered with who have some kind of resource that they're offering to caregivers, whether they're a nonprofit or a business that, they provide some kind of product or service. Our website has all that on it too. It's great if you're looking for resources or you want to support an organization that supports caregivers. That's a good place to start for sure.
Yeah. Through the show, I've made it my business to inform people, because a lot of the thing is like, you get this diagnosis and then now what? Like, what do you, nobody actually like gives you like a handbook, like, here, this is caregiver 101. This is what you need to do for your child. It's usually word of mouth. And, it's like, there's a saying in Spanish and I'm going to butcher it in English, but it's basically, it's like, I don't even know how to translate it. El peor ciego is like being blind because you don't know. So because you're not aware of the resources and the things that you can do, it's like literally being blind. So it's like, I want to give like an anecdote. Like, we moved to Jersey when I was like 20, whatever. Point is, I didn't know there was a bus that left me like on the corner of my house. I was doing this whole crazy commute to Jersey from New York for my job, but I didn't know. So it's like, it's the same thing. Like, there's parents that are not aware of the resources that are out there for them. So like you guys having the caregiver toolbox, and then through the platform that I have, informing people and putting the information out there. I feel like it's, right now it's small, but like it's gonna eventually, we're not gonna need to do it, because like people, like Tom said, people are gonna be aware of what's going on, and there's gonna be more supports already built in that people are gonna have already, that we won't need to do these things at such a grand scale. What was I gonna say? I don't know if you guys have seen this documentary though. The Reason Why I Jump. It's based on a book by a person that has autism, that he's nonverbal. And in the documentary, it is on Netflix, but the documentary highlights the stories of different people that are nonverbal on the spectrum and their families and like their journeys. So I feel like your film and then their film is like if you want to see what what parents go through, this is like the perfect combo. Yeah. You guys should definitely look into both. Yeah. So what do you guys do for self-care? I feel like I like to advertise self-care as well. And I know it's not like bubble baths and for everybody, but what do you do to pour into yourself? Like when you feel that you're not in your center or in alignment, what do you do to get back to yourself, to be able to create and feed into that, to be more you?
You're better at this than me.
Yeah. I mean, self-care is hugely important for me. I like to ride my bike a lot, just like clear my head, get some exercise, be outside, just kind of put the stress out and kind of, recalibrate. That's what does it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The physical exercise, I think, is a good one for sure. Yeah. I definitely struggle with that more, because I'm definitely like I always have a million things in my head that I should be doing. I want to be productive. So I have that long list of things I feel like I should always be tackling versus like taking a break. But I definitely do build some things in. Like, I really like doing art when it's, it's kind of part of my job. So I like to try to do art that's not part of my job. That's just, more purely for creative. And I, as an adult, started recently taking horseback riding lessons, because it was like just something totally different. Like just,
that's amazing.
Not very often, but when I can, and it's such a nice thing that's so different from what I normally do. Like I know nothing about it. I was afraid to even touch a horse at the beginning.
Yeah.
But it's just such a good, I'm not competitive about it. It's just a nice escape from my daily life, and get to be outside and learn something completely new. So yeah, such a weird little, I'm like there with a bunch of little kids, but it's fun. So,
a lot of the parents that I survey, well, not a lot, a few take their kids and they do equine therapy, which has a very big impact on especially kids on the spectrum. So if you guys want to look into that, that's something that's good.
Yeah, we have
my friend is actually doing it too.
Cool.
And she's an adult, so she just recently started. She's like, this is me investing in myself and pleasing myself as a child, because she always wanted to be a horseback rider. So she's like paying for the classes now. So it's like it's like tapping into a part of my creativity that I didn't get to express as a child. So it's really working for her.
Yeah, that's cool. I know. I actually didn't. Everyone's like, "Oh, did you want to do it when you were a kid?" I'm like, "Not really." I don't know where this desire came from, but yeah. So, we have we live in Nashville, Tennessee, so there's a lot of it's around us, in a more rural setting. Yeah. So I don't know. And we have we worked with a equine therapy center for one of our screenings here in Nashville, and I went and visited. It was so cool. So yeah, it's such a neat option for people.
It's really interesting because my son did it for. I feel like New York City public schools, they have so many programs that are so awesome for the kids, and my son was able to participate in equine therapy in elementary school. So I used to always get these little pictures of him like riding his little horse and stuff. I was thinking about actually doing it now, like as he's older, but I feel like our kids, especially kids on the spectrum, are just. Aiden's like the horse whisperer or the dog whisperer. Like any animal, he's just like, "Come here, little doggy," or whatever. And it's like it'll be like the most tough looking animal, and he's just like there's something about him that it just speaks to the animal, and they're just like so tame next to him. Yeah. So I wanted to say, so from the show, like, what were some of the biggest lessons that you got from the parents on the show? Like anything that really stood out that really just like really touched you?
We're just continually so grateful and impressed by the parents who, they love their kids so much. They're going to do whatever it takes to give them the best life possible. I think that's actually like a line that Jess says in the film, like you've come into a world that you didn't expect, but now you're going to do anything imaginable to make sure that your child can succeed and have what they need. So, that's just remarkable to see their commitment and energy that they put into that. And then even other parents who have that, extra list of that to-do list that's extra long because of, things that are different for them, but then still finding ways to advocate for other caregivers, for other families to, try to improve the situation for other people. So they're not even just focusing on themselves, but being very outwardly focused and making sure that others can benefit and get what they need as well. So I think that was just a really encouraging and inspiring thing to see from so many of the parents that we met, and just whether they're in the film or just ones that we encountered, have talked to throughout this whole process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of resilience. I think that a lot of them had, showed. I think a big thing that I took away from it that I like to tell people is, and it's mentioned a few times in there as well, but it's like, we talked about this a little bit, you don't have to do a lot to show these families support. You don't have to do these grand gestures. You can literally just be a good friend, a good neighbor, talk to them, ask them how they are. It could literally be small talk is going to go such a long way for a lot of families. And so, just hearing that over and over of like, hey, we don't need, like, you don't have to like be a qualified person to come and show us support. Like, just be kind, just be human, just be human.
Because I think we thought like, well, how would I help? Like, I don't have any medical training, or I don't know, or I don't know how to.
Don't overthink it.
Yeah. Like that's not what every family needs. It could be, running an errand or, watching their other kids for a little while, or it was nice to learn that there's little things that you can do that will make a big impact, and really just most people, when we tell people about this project, they'll say, oh, I have a friend or a cousin, or they know a caregiving family for the most part. So even just thinking about who's in your sphere that you could keep on your list of people I check in with and maintain relationships with. Because I think that's one of the things we heard over and over, was that like the isolation can be really overwhelming. Yeah. So that's something that is overcomable for sure. If you have relationships and family and friends that will make sure that you're not isolated. So I think that was something I really took away, was don't be the film's presenting a lot of challenges. Like it's a lot.
Yeah.
But you don't have to focus on that. Like think about the one thing in the one family that and start there.
Yeah. One of the things that I love about your Instagram account is that you have those little snippets with like tips for people to support caregivers. I feel like I share on my platform all the time, and I'm just like, I love this. This is great. Like, if you literally don't know what to do for your friend or family member that has a child with special needs, or an adult that they're taking care of with special needs, or not special needs, just in general, like a caregiver, period. Here's a little tip. Here, I feel like I want to have these on little cards and be like giving them out on the subway or something, because it's so helpful. It's so helpful.
And that's from parents telling us. Like, we just would post on social or do kind of little surveys and say, like, what do you wish people knew? And just put them all. I condensed them all down to, I think there's like 12 of them that they all kind of fell into those categories, and then we have quotes and things. So yeah, those came straight from parents telling us this is what would help and this is what would make a difference. So yeah, that's been fun to share and give caregivers a way to share those posts to say, like, hey, if you're wondering how to help me, here's an idea. They're not necessarily asking, but they're, in case you were wondering, here you go.
Here's a manual.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I always shout out my friends and my close friends, but like I always have like this like little circle of friends that are always like randomly texting me during the week, like, hey, how are you? Like, for real, how are you? Because I feel like, even when I was going through the mental health struggles, I wasn't really sharing with everybody. So it was just kind of like, because I in general, I tend to be I'm very outgoing, but when I'm going through issues, I tend to become recluse. So I don't really reach out to anybody. I don't go anywhere, or I turn down like invitations. So if people see people doing that's not their norm, definitely reach out. Like, if you need to go to their house, just show up. I'm sure they're not going to feel bad about you showing up. Another thing I wanted to say, like, during the pandemic, I came down with COVID and Aiden was sick too. And like, one of my friends reached out and she was like, what do you need? And I'm like, well, I haven't been able to go to the grocery store. And they went to the grocery store. I quick paid them, and then they brought the thing, and instead of like, because I was contagious, obviously, they like wrapped up whatever they got for me and like hung it on the door and included like some like herbs for tea or something. And that meant so much to me. And it wasn't like, she wasn't spending her own money. It was like, I get that time is money, right? But like, taking your time out, like 5-10 minutes, whatever it took to go to the supermarket and do that for me was like it meant so much to me. And that person is like one of my closest friends. So I'm, things like that. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, people. It's like, just anything, like a text message to say, hi, I'm thinking of you. How's your son or daughter or whoever? And, checking up on them is very important.
Yeah. And I would to encourage the caregivers to ask for, I know it can be so hard to be vulnerable and, ask for help, and it feels awkward sometimes. But I think people they are so much more willing to help than you think. And most people are excited for an opportunity to do something that they think is going to help someone. I mean, that's meaningful to people. That makes you feel good. So even though it can be hard, I think, and if someone doesn't, they don't react right, or they don't respond in a good way, then okay, that's probably, maybe don't ask them again. But there's more people who are going to be willing to do that. So I hope that caregivers too will feel empowered to ask and know that there are people out there who want to support you and want to help, and sometimes just need that little nudge. To know what would be useful.
All right, guys. And with that, we're going to be ending the show how I always end it, which is follow me at Comadreando Pod. Of course, there's evidence.
Good timing.
Okay, New York City. So I'm going to end the show how I always end it, which is follow me at Comadreando Pod on Instagram. And you can follow Amanda and Tom at, what's your handle?
caregiverdoc.com. Well, that's the website. The Instagram is caregiver at caregiverdoc. Yeah.
Okay. And if you have any questions at all for me or Tom and Amanda, feel free to send us a Comadre-Gram via email at marcy@comadreandopod.com or slide up into my DMs. Thank you for spending time with your compadres. You guys are officially compadres now. Yay!
Oh,
Nice.
exciting.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for having us. It's so fun.
Thank you so much for being on the show, and thank you again for the tickets. And if you guys have anything you want to promote or like send out via my platform, you are more than welcome. And with that, have an amazing Sunday.
Mom, just one more thing from the store, please. Mom, can we think about tomorrow, please? Mom, just please, just
Hello, comadre.
Hey, comadre.
Do you have a minute for comadre time? Comadreando is your virtual comadre time where a first-generation Dominican Latinx mom of a child with autism and special education teacher can be your support and answer any questions you may have from navigating the educational arena, advocating for your child, traveling, and even dating. Entre comadres.